Dogworks Radio is sponsored by Alaska Dogworks. Check out their website at alaskadogworks.com.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by First Paw Coffee Company, specializing in private label premium blend coffee. If you're serious about coffee, you should check it out. First Paw Coffee's passion is high-quality, small-batch roasted coffee. They take the extra time to taste and get everything perfect before they release new blends. They aim to bring you a cup of happiness each time you pour yourself some coffee. Find out more at ak.dog/free and enter for a chance to win some First Paw Coffee prizes, a book from our collection, and tote bag. One winner will be selected at random each month. That's ak.dog/free.
From First Paw Media, sponsored by First Paw Coffee Company, this is the Dog Driver Show. Visit our website at dogworksradio.com. Now here are your hosts, Robert Forto and Parto.
Hello and welcome everybody. This is Robert and I am here with my co-host KP on the Dog Driver Show. Today we're talking to Zada Maruskie. She is right here from South Central Alaska. KP, how's it going today?
Great. Today we have a talented young lady among us. I know her for years, actually. I know her as a kid when she started actually with junior mushing and part of the ASDRA Anchorage, basically sled dog group, and recently located to Chugiak, Alaska, my hometown, and part of the Chugiak Dog Musher Association group. She's been doing sled dogs for many years. As a kid, as I said, heavily involved in junior racing for other kids to start. And here we are with her. Zada, how are you doing?
I'm doing good today.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, how it started, dogs, and what you do.
I started dog mushing when I was about 7. Rick Cavens, a former dog muster and my former pastor, he one day at church, he just kind of asked a bunch of the kids out there if they wanted to go run dogs. And so I went out there, and then we were hooked from then on. We raced borrowing dogs for a while, and then when I was about 11 or 12, my family started getting our own dogs. Started out with, 4 or 5, and then that eventually grew to the 21 that we have now. And it's been a lot of fun. I've raced in juniors all the way up through the 7-dog class up until I was 18 and could race in the adults. And then I've ran 4-dog, 6-dog, and 8-dog class in the adult races.
So, Zada, being a junior musher and starting young and racing in the junior circuit and just growing up and now competing in the adult circuit, what are the big differences in your opinion?
I think growing up from juniors up through the adult and in racing, I think you get to know the club a lot. You kind of grew up; it becomes kind of another family of yours. And there's also a lot of races and opportunities that you have as a junior musher that you don't always have as an adult musher. As a junior musher, I got to go compete at the Arctic Winter Games twice, actually. Once in Fairbanks in 2014, and then again up in Hay River in Canada in 2018. And those are dog mushers are ages, I think, 12 to 18. So it's something that's more targeted toward the juniors, but it was an amazing experience and was a lot of fun.
If I could jump in here, Zada, and talk a little bit about those Arctic Winter Games. I know that most of our listeners do not know anything about that. Can you tell us how that is set up, not only with dog mushing, but some other events that are involved as well?
Yeah, so Arctic Winter Games, it happens every other year. And then it happens at various locations across Alaska, Canada, Greenland, and then I think it's probably been in Russia as well. Their teams basically kind of, the countries and people participating are basically kind of around the Arctic Circle. So a lot of places in territories in Canada, Greenland, Russia, and then Alaska are the main teams countries that I can think of right now, or groups there. And they're mostly winter or indoor sports. So either you got cross-country skiing, have indoor soccer, gymnastics, a lot of native games as well, and so much more. It's a great opportunity. It was awesome to go and meet other dog mushers from other countries, but then it's also really cool to kind of see all the different sports and all the people that came to participate for all of the things.
So, do you have to qualify? Are you invited? What is the process to be a part of I guess, Team USA here for who you
So I
represented?
think the application process for the different sports is a little bit different depending on the sport. But I think they all have some sort of application. For the dog mushing, we had to submit an application that included our race record, as well as they asked us some questions about what our goals are, what our experience was, and just some questions about ourselves. And then from there, the selection committee picked who was going to represent Team Alaska for dog mushing.
And Zada, you do that as a family, correct? I believe your brother and your sister also participated at this event before, correct?
So the first year, it was just me. And then the second time we went, it was me and my brother.
Okay.
No, she has not been old enough for it.
Okay. Okay, so your younger sister has not been racing there yet. Okay. For our listeners not familiar with the Maruskie family, they do everything in a family event. Every member of their family, like literally between mom, dad, Zada, younger sister, younger brother, they're all heavily involved in not only in the clubs but also volunteering for trail work and for junior clubs and all of that. How do you, Zada? How do you organize in a family? Like who's gonna do what?
It just kind of happens, I guess. I don't know. As juniors, we always made sure that we had enough dogs for all of us to race. If for whatever reason we didn't, we would kind of take turns on weekends. One weekend my brother would race, one weekend I would race. And then kind of same goes for now. Now that both me and my brother are adult dog mushers, we'll kind of take turns taking the A team out for the races. And so I'll do one big race and then with the A team, and then he'll do the next big race with the A team. And then usually whoever is not running the A team will run the few extra dogs in like the 4-dog class that we have. So we all get a chance to run.
And Robert, Zada, myself, and Zada's family, and Maruskie family, and myself, we train on the same dog track at the Chugach Dog Mushers. For training, Zada, how do you organize that? Is usually dad, you, or dad, your brother Zach, or Mia? How do you organize that, or plan
It's
it?
kind of whoever's available. My dad's always there when we train the dogs, and he'll usually be like, okay, I'm going this time, this day, or I want to go this day. What times are you available? And so a lot of the time my brother or my sister will go help him out on Saturdays, but then I'll go help him out on Sundays usually. And
So, sticking with that family theme, what type of competition is there? Do you guys sit around the dinner table and banter back and forth about who is the best musher, or who has the fastest dogs, or who has the best record?
Not so much anymore. When we were younger, me and my brother definitely would talk about it a lot more. But as we've gotten older, we don't kind of discuss it as much. We kind of know that, like, if you have this team, you're probably going to have the A team. And like I said, we take turns with the A team, so we both get a chance to show what we can do with the team. But now that we've gotten older, not so much. When we were younger, there was definitely a little bit more between there. But we often were racing in different classes as well. So there wasn't as much direct competition.
So one final question before we sort of transition over to the adult side or the senior side of mushing. I love when I speak with young people that are growing up in the sport, and I always like to ask, how was social life, in particular in junior high and high school, when you're constantly having to do musher chores or racing or whatever? How did you fit that into the teenager's life and teenager schedule?
I had a very busy schedule. All throughout high school, pretty much all throughout high school, I was working my job, teaching dance and gymnastics, anywhere from 15 to 25 hours a week, on top of full days of high school, and training the dogs on the weekends and a couple evenings. So it was a lot, but a lot of my dog mushing would happen on the weekends, or if I could get out of school early, it would happen. We'd train one afternoon. But it was busy. I often didn't have time to go out and do a lot of extra things, but overall I was okay with that because I got to hang out with friends at the dog track when we were racing. I got to hang out with friends in my dance class at work. And then I just hung out with my school friends at school rather than didn't do a lot of after school or go out on the weekends like some people do.
Zada, I'm going to actually continue in the same path. How important is junior mushing for our sport, in your opinion, who person who grew up racing sled dogs?
I think it's very important and very helpful. As junior mushers, these junior mushers are often going to be the people who are going to grow up and be the adult mushers. While we do have people that jump into the sport as adults, they're a lot more likely to continue on or maybe join the sport again later as they've gotten older and kind of settled into their job and their life, if they already have that experience and already have gained the love and passion for the sport. So junior mushing is super important. I kind of doubt I would have been an adult musher had I not been a junior musher, because it's a hard sport and
it's expensive, time-consuming, and hard. You're absolutely right, Zada. Absolutely. Zada, tell me a little bit about your dogs. We talked about junior racing and your kennel of 21 dogs. Tell me about the background, what you do with them, and how what is behind them.
So our dogs, most of our dogs come from the Ken Chesak line. And we have a majority of them we've actually raised ourselves from puppies. We've had multiple litters. So all of our current race dogs are or almost all but 3 are dogs that we have raised and had since they were puppies. And they're all some sort of husky hound mix. And they are all awesome. We have them ranging from ages of 10 months up through 8 for our race dogs, and then we have a couple older, like 12 and 13-year-old dogs. But yeah.
How is raising and whelping a litter important to basically know the personality of each one of these dogs? Is it important?
Yeah, for sure. So when raising the puppies, it's a lot of work for sure. But when you've raised them since they were born, you get to know their personality and so well, which can be really helpful when you're seeing them, even just out running the yard. You can kind of see if something's changed in them, and if you've known them for that long, then you can really tell when that's happened. Whereas if you just got a dog, you don't really know. It's harder to tell when something's wrong because you don't know if that's like their normal or if that's not their normal. So raising them from puppies just allows you to really get to know your dog right away when you start racing them, which can be super helpful.
And I know that for our listeners who are not familiar with our relationship with the Maruskie family, we've done several what we call split litters, mean that they're having our dogs and they're whelping them basically, and we get few of the pups and they get few of the pups. And how do you select the puppies that you want to keep, in your opinion? Because we do that every season and say, okay, I'll take these 2 males, and Scott says, I'll take these 2. How do you guys select those?
So a couple different things. One, we kind of look at, while they are still a tiny puppy, that's kind of hard to tell for sure. We do kind of look at their size a little bit to kind of determine if it's going to be a bigger one or a smaller one. Well, that doesn't always necessarily play out because they're still very young pups at that time. that's one way, but then we also look at their personalities a lot. Just from the time they start moving around and everything, you start to get a feel for their personality. And so then usually I'll pick the dogs that are, well, most of them are really sweet. We'll pick the ones that are extra sweet and are starting to show some signs of listening pretty well and are gentle and kind.
And I believe you take your pups to work sometimes, do you?
Yes, I have.
Cool. Let's get back to junior mushing. You're involved in the ASDA junior program. Is that correct?
Yes.
Tell us about this program, please.
So I was a member of the Junior Astor Club ever since I started racing there. And then by the time I was like, I think it was 11 or 10, I started being on the board. And they have a board just like any other club would with the secretary, historian, vice president, treasurer, and president. I was historian at one point, as well as vice president and president, different years, but different positions. It's a lot of fun. The club is just a bunch of juniors and then their parents. Of course, my mom was the junior advisor, and currently still is. And this club we organize events, races, fun things, Christmas parties to kind of get the year started. And it's a lot of fun. It's really cool to kind of have an opportunity as a junior, just in life, as a middle school, high school student, to have this opportunity to kind of take some leadership and help make the decisions for our races and our events and all of that.
It's very interesting the word you use, leadership. That's actually the question that I had coming, but I think you kind of answered that. Do you think these programs, they help the kids with responsibility, discipline, and leadership?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I mean, even with just dog mushing in general, as far as gaining kind of a sense of responsibility and stuff, dog mushing in general will do that. You're responsible for these dogs, and the only way they are going to race and run well is if you are taking care of them the way they need to be taken care of, both physically and mentally for them. But then as being a part of a club, it gives you, and especially even just as a member of the club, you still have voting and you can still talk in these discussions, and then taking on the roles on the board allow you to kind of take that leadership position and kind of not necessarily just use your leadership skills, but grow and develop the skills that you have, or gain those leadership skills that you may not have had in a safe and friendly environment, somewhere where there's other people there to help you out and back you up, and people that are there to kind of support you and help you when things didn't quite go the way they needed to, or all of that. So
this year, what do you have in mind? What you organize for your season, weather permitting, of course?
I would probably, assuming we get snow here in Anchorage, race as many of the Astor races as we can. Whatever races end up in Chugiak. And I'm not totally sure what other races my family's planning on doing. We'll probably try and go up to North Pole and do that. But I'm not totally sure what other races we want to go out and do.
So if we could now transition to the point of the show that people really like, and that is our advice section. I always ask the same question to all of our guests, and that is, if a person comes up to you, Zada, and they're just getting involved with the sport, whether it's one dog or 6 or 8 dog class or whatever, what would be one piece of advice you would give those new mushers, juniors or adults?
Have fun and don't let go.
That number one rule in mushing for sure. All right, KP, anything else in closing?
Don't let go. That's right. Don't let go. Zaid, I wanted to thank you. If you have anyone who you want to thank or any sponsor you want to mention, it's time right now, and you can do it right now.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So my dad is the main person to really thank, because he does a lot of work with the dogs. But then our one of the main things that we have is our dog food, Dr. Tim's dog food. My dad sells it, but it is also the dog food that we have used and many other mushers use, and that just provide great help support these great and running and athletic dogs.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Zada, for spending the last 20-some minutes with us and share some of your background, your junior experience with us. I wish you the best of luck for the upcoming season, training and racing, and good luck to you.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. On behalf of my co-host today, KP, this is Robert for the Dog Driver Show. Be sure to check us out over on dogworksradio.com and follow us on social media by searching Dogworks Radio. We'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
This episode of the podcast is sponsored by First Paw Coffee Company. Learn more at firstpaw.coffee.
From First Paw Media, this is the Dog Driver Show. We hope you enjoyed this podcast, and we invite you to subscribe in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. You'll find a link on the episode notes. You can tap or swipe on the episode cover art, and you can see some offers from our sponsors. You can support our show by supporting them. If you like what you have heard, we would love it if you could give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe too. Your hosts are Robert Forto and Parto. Our producer is Robert Forto and created for First Paw Media.